Welcome in. It's Chiefs Chase, and I am Mike Bassano. The Chiefs are 1-0, baby. 27-20, they beat the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football, the NFL kickoff on NBC. The entire world with their eyes on Kansas City. And the Chiefs come away with the dub by a toe. Oh, baby. After raising a beautiful banner.
Kansas City, this one is for you.
A beautiful banner to the third one since 2020. The Chiefs are loving every second of this. We have so much to get to. This is Chiefs Chase. I'm Mike Bassano. Every week, after every game, we are going to be here exploding with emotion about the Kansas City Chiefs and what they just did. Win or lose, we're going to be right here. And we're going to follow the Chiefs as they go on to try to make history, becoming the first team in the NFL to ever three-peat as Super Bowl champions. It's a huge deal to get the first win under their belt, and there was a lot of pressure here. People were wondering the whole time, are the Chiefs going to catch that revenge hit from the Baltimore Ravens? They're a hell of a football team. Lamar Jackson's a hell of a quarterback. MVP last year. Will they be able to get it done? And I'll tell you, I was sweating. At the last few minutes of that game, when you feel like you have opportunities to put the game away, opportunity after opportunity, and it just didn't quite happen. The football gods do not often smile on you. When you have that many chances, and you just don't quite put it away. But the Chiefs make it happen. What a phenomenal game all around. We have so much to get to. So much to get to here on the show. Thank you for joining me and spending a little bit of your post-game Chiefs frenzy with me on Chiefs Chase. Holy crap, what a game. The Chiefs win by 7, just like in the AFC title game. And the Chiefs have a new bona fide star in the making. Get to that in just a moment. But first, I want the whole Ravens defense indicted. I want them charged with assault. I don't like how they hit Patrick Mahomes. I don't like how they took cheap shots at him outside of the out of bounds line. We didn't do that. We didn't see the Chiefs taking shots at Lamar Jackson when he was running the ball. Every single chance the Ravens had, it looked like they were trying to hurt Patrick Mahomes. Roquan Smith's a problem. That man's a problem. If the Ravens, they're probably going to make the playoffs, and when the Chiefs see them again in the playoffs, I will personally start a petition to make the NFL not let Roquan play. He is gunning for Patrick Mahomes every chance he gets. They're diving at his knees while he's out of bounds. Are you freaking kidding me? How do we live in a world where that's acceptable? How do we live in a world where not only does the NFL not discipline these players, they didn't discipline them after last year in the AFC Championship game when the Ravens came in all worked up and excited and just kept doing these bonehead personal fouls. But they even missed one of the most obvious personal fouls in existence. Kudos to the Chiefs crowd for quieting down when Mahomes asked them to, because there was a lot of emotion in that moment where Roquan Smith hit Mahomes out of bounds and he went down and there was no flag. Trey Smith got after it. You know, these guys, the NFL has to step in and do something about the Baltimore Ravens. They have to. I want them all indicted. I want them at Jackson County, 8 a.m. court, be there. Get all of them in there, man. Wrapping Mahomes around the head, hitting him late, targeting his knees. And by the way, Mahomes making that catch off the deflected ball on third down when they had to punt. It was a huge play. And I'm glad that Collinsworth, who's one of the absolute best in the business, he was able to understand how big that moment was and pointed out how big that moment was. Because not only did that stop the interception, but it kept the clock moving. That was still north of the 2-minute drill, guys. The 2-minute warning. So when Patrick Mahomes makes that catch, not only does the next 30 seconds go off the clock, but the extra timeout that Baltimore was going to have at the 2-minute warning is now gone. That was a huge 200 IQ play by Patrick Mahomes. We're lucky to have him in Kansas City. I'm just telling you right now, we are very lucky that Patrick Mahomes is a Kansas City Chief. Oh. All right, now Mahomes did something tonight that nobody has ever done before. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, Xavier Worthy is already on his way to becoming the best wide receiver in Chiefs history. 2 touchdowns tonight. A touchdown on a reverse on his first ever career touch. Are you kidding me? First ever career touch. Houses it. Somehow later gets completely lost behind the defense, wide open, all by himself. And you know why? Because the Raven defense is nothing but a bunch of douchebags. They can't play defense. They just want to hurt people. That's what they do. Their discipline is shit. They just want to hurt people. So they get torched because they decided to not even cover Xavier Worthy. Boom, 6. That's the difference in the game, bitches. Xavier Worthy, the difference in the game. Hits that touchdown, 2 touchdowns in one game. And the speed that we saw from Xavier Worthy was legitimately one of the greatest things. It's for real, guys. You know, you see a guy at the combine, right? And he might run a 4.2, whatever. But you never really know, like, how is that going to translate to the field? And I think we saw a little bit during preseason, during training camp. I think we saw a little bit of what Xavier Worthy brings to the table and what he could be. But tonight, in a regular season game, against the second best team in the AFC last year, behind the Chiefs, Xavier Worthy proved not only is he ready for this moment, he is thriving in this moment. I'm fired up, man. You can tell I'm fired up for Xavier Worthy. That first touchdown was exquisite. The speed, he is fast. It reminds me a little bit of Tyreek Hill. As much as I'm not a huge Tyreek Hill fan anymore, appreciate what he did in Kansas City, just don't love that he runs his mouth so much. It reminded me of young Tyreek Hill as a rookie coming in, and he just looks faster than everyone else on the field. That is monstrous for Kansas City. I mean, how dumb is Buffalo? How dumb are the Buffalo Bills? They traded back and let the Chiefs get Xavier Worthy? And they needed him. I mean, it's not as bad as them trading back to let the Chiefs get Patrick Mahomes, but still, think about this. This is why I bring up Xavier Worthy becoming the greatest wide receiver in Chiefs history. He has extraordinary talent, and he's coming here to Kansas City during Mahomes' prime. Right? Tyreek Hill, he came in, it was, Alex Smith years for a couple of years, 3 years, I think, while he was in Kansas City. Maybe 2, 16 and 17. Yeah. So by the time Mahomes started, well, he was a young guy. Now Mahomes is coming into his prime as a passer, and you get a young guy out of Texas and Xavier Worthy that can run like the wind. That means for the next 8 years, at least, I'm just projecting what Xavier's career might look like. But for the next 8 years, if Worthy keeps playing like this and he keeps his work ethic up, we're talking about the best wide receiver to ever put on a Chiefs jersey. I'm feeling it. I'm fired up about it. And I think everybody else should be too. Whew. I would puke if I were a Buffalo Bills fan. I would be sending angry letters to my general manager. I would be sending angry letters to management, to ownership. I'd be so upset if I were a Buffalo Bills fan. You have no idea. I can't believe they let Kansas City have the fastest man in the NFL. And that duo of Rice and Worthy look out. Because what we saw tonight when the passing game was working, they were using Worthy deep, running Rice underneath, and then boom, Rashee Rice keeps going because you have to respect the speed. This is something the Chiefs haven't had since Tyreek Hill left, is someone with a speed that you must respect, and if you don't, you're going to get torched for a touchdown or two. So that opens up things for Rashee Rice. Now, the Baltimore Ravens really keying in on Travis Kelce. And for a good reason. The last time the Chiefs played the Ravens, Travis Kelce had 11 catches and crushed them in the AFC Championship game. Chris Collinsworth brought it up tonight on NBC. Travis Kelce is, you could point to him as the reason the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl. So they definitely made a game plan to make sure that Travis isn't going to get us this time. Not with Taylor Swift in the house, not with all the Swifties watching. We are not letting him have the game of his life against us. No, sir. Okay, cool. Xavier Worthy, 2 touchdowns. Rashee Rice, absolute unit. Had a huge game. That's how dynamic this Chiefs offense has become. Hollywood Brown's not even here yet, guys. Hollywood Brown's not even here yet. Think about how much better it's going to get. And they sputtered time and time, but you know what? It's early in the season. You expect sputters. The Ravens offense is dynamic too. Zay Flowers, a big-time player. We'll get to his game and the person that kind of messed his game up tonight in just a bit. But they have a big-time offense. The Ravens are an amazing football team. Derrick Henry looked pretty good at times, right? He got stuffed up some, but he looked pretty good at times. They have a strong team in Baltimore, a strong offense specifically. Isaiah Likely, look at him. He looks like a man now. He's growing into that role. So to be able to hold them to 20 points in week 1, we'll see him again. This is not the last time we will see Baltimore this year, and I hope that all their players are indicted. It's just cheap shot after cheap shot. And by the way, speaking of Taylor Swift, I kind of get why people hate us, you know? Because I'm watching the game, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm locked in, I'm dialed, I'm thinking about football, I'm football focused. And they're like, hey, here's Travis Kelce. He had a heck of an offseason. The highlight of his offseason was Travis Kelce at the Eras Tour. Now I get why NBC has to do this. There are a lot of people watching the game because Taylor Swift's boyfriend is playing in it. You're NBC. The NBC isn't. They're not the NFL. NBC follows storylines for ratings. That's their job. So of course they have to show Taylor Swift. But I do understand if I were a Ravens fan and I'm sitting there watching the game. I hate the Chiefs. They knocked us out of the playoffs. They beat us all the time. I hate them so much, and I'm getting locked into this game. And then there's Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce performing in Europe on the Eras Tour. I would break my television, dude. So I understand why they hate us so much. I would throw my TV into the street and maybe set it on fire. I'd be so upset. So I get it. And I had to laugh at that. I had to bring it up. Taylor looks great. Happy to have her. Happy she was at the game, and I hope she had a good time. Travis had a solid game too. You know, it wasn't a huge Travis Kelce game, but the Baltimore Ravens made sure 87 wasn't going to be the guy. Not again. They heard about it all offseason. That's what happens when you don't win the Super Bowl, right? Remember when the Chiefs got knocked out by Joe Burrow and the Bengals a few years ago? All we heard about was Joe Burrow. We had to have them come back to Arrowhead the next year in the playoffs and then beat them to go to the Super Bowl. That's the only way we got everybody to stop chirping about Joe Burrow. So that's just the way it is. Baltimore's been dealing with Travis Kelce's huge game against them with Taylor Swift in attendance the entire offseason. So because of that, I completely understand why they'd key on Travis and why a lot of Ravens fans probably got upset by that. Now, one Chiefs star somehow looks even better than he did a year ago. I'll tell you who that is in just a minute. But first, Patrick Mahomes has done something no one has ever done before. He has set the career Chiefs passing record on a vintage Mahomes play, passing the great, legendary, amazing Lenny Dawson, Lenny Cool. And the play he did it on was the most Mahomes play that he could have done it on, right? He gets pressure in the pocket. It breaks down. He rolls out. Travis Kelce gets in the open. Boom, drills him. Travis, not the loudest game, but that play was massive. And it was in a huge moment for the Kansas City Chiefs. So big time play by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Mahomes now set the career record for Chiefs passing yards. Alex Smith weighed in on the internet.
Patrick, you're now the all-time franchise passing leader for the Kansas City Chiefs. I only got one question for you. What took you so long? In all seriousness, what you've done for this team, this city, and everyone who's ever worn a Chiefs jersey is nothing short of incredible. You make us all proud, both on and off the field. From the very beginning, we all knew you were going to take this franchise to new heights, and that's exactly what you've done. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm so proud and beyond happy for everything that you've accomplished. Congrats, and here's to many more records.
Now, this is all okay and awesome because the Chiefs won. We were this close to not having a party tonight. We were this close to having a big rant about not going for it on 4th and 5. We'll get to it. But that would have opened the show, right? If the Chiefs don't win, everything changes. All of that changes by a toe. But what an incredible accomplishment for Patrick Mahomes to set before the age of 30. He is one of the most remarkable athletes in the history of time. And undoubtedly, I think when it's all said and done, he'll be the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. Maybe a small asterisk because he never beat Brady in the playoffs, but who the hell cares? The guy set the Chiefs' career passing record before he's 30 years old. Patrick Mahomes is a gift to us. We got to appreciate every second, appreciate every minute. And that Baltimore defense, that's a tough defense. That's a tough defense. I want them all thrown in jail. It is a tough defense. They hit hard, they're vicious, and they jaw a lot, man. I do not like those guys at all. And you know what? They do not like the Chiefs at all. You could tell that all night. Everybody was chippy from the very beginning, both sides. I'm not going to only blame them for the chippiness. I will blame them for the cheap shots. Putting your arm around Mahomes' neck. Get your damn arm down. On that roughing the passer penalty, they could have called it on two guys. You had one guy hitting below the knee, one guy hitting above the shoulders. What the hell is going on, NFL? Do you not have the training videos anymore? Remember the training? They said, this is how you're supposed to tackle somebody. And if you don't, you'll get fined. Start fining these people. Start throwing flags. Got Mahomes getting thrown into the damn water cooler on the outside of bounds, and nobody's throwing anything. I'm worked up, man. I'm worked up about it. But we will move on. That's okay. Now, one play that will be forgotten in this game, but absolutely shouldn't be. One big-time play that people won't talk about that much, but they should. We'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. But the one Chief star who somehow looks better than he did last year, Isaiah Pacheco. Pop is in the building. And he looks like a completely different guy. Seriously. He still runs hard, still looks like he eats the grass with his feet. Yeah, absolutely. He runs like he eats grass. I don't know why that's still so funny, but it is. He looks faster. He looks more powerful. And he looks fresher because he now has guys around him like Samaje Perine and Carson Steele that can spell him for a play or two. Isaiah Pacheco looks much better, in my opinion. He was already really good. He was already a star player for the Chiefs. But now he looks like an explosive back who's well-rounded and is coming into his own as an NFL player. Isaiah Pacheco has elevated himself from where he once was. And he was already high up, brother. But he's even higher now. That man, I'll tell you what, that touchdown, that power versus power goal line touchdown where it looked like he was stopped. One could even make the argument, maybe blow the whistle, but no whistle was blown, and the Chiefs kept coming. That power versus power, pushing Isaiah Pacheco over into the end zone. That is a demoralizing play for the Baltimore Ravens defense. That puts them down, way down. And I love it. I'm sitting here having the best time. I'm like, that's what football's supposed to be. Power versus power. I'm going to run it right down your throat, shove you over the goal line, and there is not a damn thing that you can do about it. That's what it is. That's football, baby. That's what the whole reason you play. That's it. That's the reason the game exists. Yeah, we like the high-flying throws. We like the best show on turf type of offense. But when push comes to shove, the teams that win in January and February, you have got to be able to go power versus power and come out victorious. The Chiefs did that in the touchdown for Isaiah Pacheco in the goal line. And that, my friends, that is spelling massive success for the Chiefs this year. Just absolutely awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. I loved that. And also his cutback ability. We saw that from Isaiah Pacheco. It was mentioned on the broadcast. But that ability to cut back in the backfield to turn something that should be a loss of 1 into a gain of 6. Pacheco's been able to do that. I think that's something that's underrated in his game, but it's always been there. You know what I mean? It's always been. It's not something new that he's added to his arsenal, but it is still worth mentioning because with the other things, he looks quicker, he looks more powerful, and now those cutbacks, they're hitting even better than they did in the past. Isaiah Pacheco could end up being the catalyst for what propels the Chiefs into a three-peat this season. I cannot emphasize this enough to all of you. Isaiah Pacheco has so much it factor. It is coming out of his damn ears. Whew, I'm fired up. We got a lot more to get to here, man. Now, one decision by the Chiefs had everybody kind of scratching their heads, and we'll get to that here in just a moment. But first, one play that will be forgotten in this game, but it absolutely should not be forgotten. 3rd and 12. Pivotal moment of the game. The Chiefs are on defense. Lamar Jackson puts up a beautiful throw to Zay Flowers. And Jalen Watson, 1-on-1, knocks the ball away. That was such a huge moment for a multitude of reasons. Let's go down. 1, they get a first down there, big problem. 2, punt time. Right? They got to punt the ball, change of possession, and it was at the middle of the field in a pivotal moment of the game where the momentum could have gone one way or the other. 3, and I think this is the most important reason and why I got so fired up. We need Watson badly. The Chiefs need Jalen Watson to step up and be a phenomenal player because he's replacing one of the greatest Chiefs I've ever seen play in my life, L'Jarius Sneed. I understand. It's a huge, tall order. Big shoes to fill. And I'm not expecting Jalen Watson to become an all-pro cornerback, right? I think that would be... I'm not saying he can't, by the way. I'm not saying he can't do that. But I don't think that's where his expectation should be. But the fact that he can hang with a guy like Zay Flowers, who is a hell of a player, by the way, giving us headaches. We had to start beating him up. Saw that. Chiefs defense started pop, pop, pop. Started putting a little extra mustard on the hits on Zay Flowers because he's killing them. But on that play, we saw that Jalen Watson can run one-on-one with a guy like Zay Flowers and come out victorious. If that doesn't give you a strong level of confidence in him going forward, I don't know what will. Yeah, the Chiefs secondary has some issues. But you know what? Baltimore is really good. They held them to 20 points. Not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but a very, very strong performance by every measure by the Chiefs defense. Is Steve Spagnuolo calling his own timeouts, the Renegade. That was a moment, wasn't it? Oh, it was fun. It was a good time. All right. So, Zay Flowers, big-time player. Chiefs beat him up. Jalen Watson, hats off to you. You're very needed this year. You're an incredibly important piece of this defense where it kind of, I don't want to say it makes or breaks the defense, but it might make or break the secondary. And that's incredibly important. So the fact that Jalen Watson proved he can hang with a big-time player like Zay Flowers, that has to give you a lot of confidence in him playing opposite Trent McDuffie. NBC, you drove me nuts. And one specific reason NBC drove me absolutely insane tonight. Get to that in just a moment. But first, one decision by the Chiefs had everybody just scratching their heads. 4th and 5 on the 40-yard line, and you decide to punt? You gain a whole 20 yards of field position, and then the Baltimore Ravens march 80 yards down your throat and score a touchdown. I can't be alone in the world in thinking that was one of the most bonehead decisions that I have seen in such a long time from Andy Reid. But this is why. This is why Andy Reid needed Patrick Mahomes in order to win the big one. Andy hasn't become a better coach with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes just makes up for a number of Andy Reid's blunders. I can go through the playoffs and show you multiple games where if Patrick Mahomes doesn't bail Andy Reid out, all we're talking about is his terrible clock management, his poor decision-making in big moments, him trying to get cute at the goal line. But it doesn't matter because he has 15 to bail him out every time one of those things happen. And the 4th and 5 decision is absolutely one of those things. I love Andy Reid. Hall of Fame head coach, knows more about football than I could put together in a lifetime, without question. But he has this propensity to make these decisions that leave everybody going, wait, what, why? 5 yards. That was the moment where the Chiefs could have put the foot on the back of the Ravens' neck and taken that game home. They could have just buried him right there. You get that first down, you demoralize them. You go in and you score a touchdown, game's over. It's done. And Andy Reid's punting? Andy Reid decides to punt the ball? I didn't get that decision one iota. And I don't think anyone did. Because the Ravens then drive down and they score a touchdown. It drove me crazy. Hall of Fame coach, one of the GOATs. But Andy Reid is always good for one of those WTF moments where you're going, what the fuck? No disrespect. I mean, I guess you could call it a little disrespectful. I don't think it's disrespectful. It's the truth. Everyone collectively was going, wait, what? Why? Why are we doing this? What is this? I never look at X anymore or Twitter or whatever it's called now. I just don't like it there. Follow me on Instagram at Mike Bassano. But and it's not like a political thing. I got off Twitter in 2020. March of 2020. I was like, done. Saw exactly where that hellhole was headed, and I'm like, I ain't going to go down that. I'm not going to be on that train, brother. So I looked at it for the first time in years because I was like, I can't be alone in the world. There's got to be other people. And then, yes, thank you, people of X who are still there, for validating me in that moment because I'm sitting there thinking, what is this? What are we doing? This makes no sense. And I'm glad other people were on my side. I'm curious. You know what? No explanation needed. I don't need an explanation. It was a poor choice. Poor coaching decision. Andy Reid makes them in the game. One of the greatest coaches of all time. In-game blunders, throughout his whole career he's done it. Now he has Patrick Mahomes, and those blunders don't matter as much because, hey, when you need him, he comes through. And it's a beautiful thing. And let's make no mistake, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes without Andy Reid. So having that level of talent helps Andy get over the hump. But the level of talent doesn't get the development without Andy Reid. It's a whole thing. My only thing I want to leave this with is I am very respectful of Andy Reid. I love the guy. He's brought so much to Kansas City. I never want to be viewed as an Andy Reid hater. 4th and 5, should have gone for it, buddy. It drove me crazy. Now, the thing that drove me crazy with NBC, we'll get to that in a second. There's one Chiefs player that showed why he's the man, and there's one Chiefs player that is just absolutely killing me, Smalls. Tell you who they are in just a moment. But first, NBC comparing Lamar Jackson to Patrick Mahomes drove me up a wall. When they came back and they're like, these are these guys in high school. These are these guys in college. Here they are getting drafted. Oh, and here they are with their 2 MVPs. And that's it. They ended it right there. Why don't you show the playoff stats? Why don't you show the stats of the one time in the NFL season that truly matters? Because then Patrick Mahomes is holding all the hardware and Lamar Jackson is holding none. NBC tries to make Lamar Jackson, the media's Lamar Jackson love. He's an exciting player. They see him as another Michael Vick. They compared him to Michael Vick multiple times tonight. I think that's what it is. They're like, hey, Lamar Jackson's an exciting player. Let's build him up. Lamar Jackson is a postseason failure. So comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, like, oh, here's your quarterback showdown. No. Show the postseason and show that Lamar Jackson has been a complete failure in the postseason. You know who he beat last year? The Texans, who had a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. I don't want to hear about Lamar Jackson being great until he proves it in the postseason. I have a feeling, just a feeling, that the Chiefs will see the Ravens again in the playoffs. There's your time to prove it. And if he does, I'll sit here on this show and I'll eat a little crow. But I just don't think I'm going to. All right. Oh, by the way, Lamar missed multiple game winners at the end. That miss on the Zay Flowers in the back of the end zone was inexcusable. Zay Flowers was by himself, bro. We should have gone to overtime. We should have seen an overtime game tonight. Zay Flowers was all alone. That was an easy 6, and Lamar just sailed it behind him and high. You're going to compare him to Patrick Mahomes? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't compare the two because Patrick Mahomes hits that pass 10 times out of 10 with the game on the line. And that's the difference between Lamar Jackson, who's an exciting player to watch, and a really good quarterback, really a great quarterback. But when the game's on the line, who do you want? Not Lamar Jackson. Even if it's not between Mahomes, I would take like 10 quarterbacks before Lamar Jackson with the game on the line. Yeah. It'd be great if I could have Lamar like for the first, 3.5 quarters. Then bring me in somebody who can actually finish games because Lamar can't. He proved it once again, tonight. Now, there was one player who showed why he's the man. One showed why he is absolutely killing me. We'll start with the one that's killing me because I want to end this on a happy note. This is the last thing we're going to cover. Jawaan Taylor. You're killing me, Smalls. You are killing me. Stop it. Just stop with the stupid penalties every time. You saw Patrick just go 74 when he had the false start because he can't stop committing penalties. The most penalized player in the entire league last year. Jawaan Taylor is the bane of my existence because he's a great player and he has all the ability in the world. It's just, come on, man. You got to lock in. I loved on the first false start penalty where they turned and was like, that's my bad. It's like, yeah, we know it's your bad, Jawaan. The rest of the entire team didn't flinch. It was just you backing up. Killing me. I don't know what it is with the guy, man, because he's a good player. He is. He just makes these stupid decisions and makes these stupid penalties at really bad times. You're killing me, man. I root for Jawaan Taylor because I do think he's very talented. And when he's locked in and when he's playing his game, Jawaan Taylor's a great right tackle. Love having him there. But, gosh, dang, I hear 74 come out of that referee's mouth one more time. I'm going to have an aneurysm. I can't handle it, Jawaan. I can't handle it. You got to stop with this. I'm shaking. I'm shaking over here. You got to help me out, Jawaan Taylor. Help me. See a therapist. I don't know. What's going on? Is it Adderall? Do we need Adderall? I'm just trying to find out where the lack of attention is coming from. If it's a chemical imbalance thing, let's get you some help. There's plenty of medication out there. Or if it's just, sometimes I don't lock in. Well, then maybe a little meditation. There's a lot of options, but we got to do something, Jawan, because you're going to drive me nuts. My brain is going to fall out of my head if I see you have one more false start penalty, buddy. It is killing me. Whew. And now to end it, the one player who showed why he's the man. I think Chris Jones is the greatest defensive tackle to ever play football now. Watching him, I think he's better than Aaron Donald. Ask 49ers fans. They agree with me. Chris Jones is a better player than Aaron Donald. The 49ers fans saw Aaron Donald twice a year. They saw Chris Jones in 2 Super Bowls. Chris Jones responsible for 2 Super Bowl wins. True story. He was huge in both wins against the 49ers. Without him, the Chiefs don't get those victories. And tonight, the Chiefs don't get the victory without him either. He had a monster game, wreaking havoc in the backfield, making Lamar Jackson uncomfortable consistently. He even got a strip sack. Chris Jones with the big contract. Chris Jones is worth every damn penny he was given by the Kansas City Chiefs. I'd pay him more. I'd give him more. Clark Hunt, the Hunt family, has a fortune that's like the second biggest among all of NFL owners. Break him off a little brisket, baby. Let's go. Chris Jones is the man, and he proved it again tonight. You always wonder with certain players, and I don't think I thought about this with Chris Jones, but some people might have. You always wonder with players when they get paid, will they be the same guy? Are they going to put in the same work ethic? Are they going to be as good as they've been? Chris Jones got paid and he got better. That's what I'm talking about. CJ, 9-5. Let's go, Stone Cold Jones, baby. I'm so fired up about this. This has been Chiefs Chase. I am Mike Bassano. The Chiefs beat the Baltimore Ravens 27-20. 7-point win, just like in the AFC Championship game last year. Oh, you can feel it in your bones. There is a chance for an undefeated season. And until the Chiefs lose, that is my goal. An undefeated season for the Kansas City Chiefs. Have a great week. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me, and I will see you next week.